I felt crazy my entire marriage. And I hated that. Like, I woke up every day feeling crazy. I don't like broke men. I've learned that the hard way. And I find that a lot of men actually treat their mistresses better than they treat their wives, right? I don't want to get married again. So once you take marriage off the table, and once you take commitment and children off the table, what else is there?
All right, so tell us your name.
Juju Ramos.
Juju. All right, Juju. So tell me more about your divorce. How long was how long was your first engagement?
My first engagement?
I mean, your first marriage, sorry, first marriage.
So my first marriage was 6 years. I was married to my daughter's father.
Okay, so you got a kid out of that. And so was your family supportive of that marriage?
No, but you know, they always support me in whatever I want to do.
Okay, so if they weren't supportive, are they supportive of your lifestyle now that you're out of that marriage?
My family is definitely supportive of my lifestyle. My father tells me all the time he's immensely proud of me. He sees me traveling, being happy, making money, and he just wants me to keep going.
And he's okay with your daughter not having a father in the household?
My daughter's father lives 2 miles away from me. So even if
Okay.
he's not in the household, he's there.
And he's all right with your lifestyle of traveling, being away from your daughter, or how do you make that work?
Who do you think babysits?
Okay, so he just babysits year round while you're traveling, and that doesn't affect your
You know what?
relationship?
I hate to call it babysitting. He's not babysitting. It's his child, right? But he's the youngest of 10 children. Everyone lives in this little small town outside of Atlanta, so I always have a babysitter. So it's just never a thing. If I want to do something, everyone is always just willing to help.
Okay, okay. And
But to answer your question, he doesn't care at all.
he doesn't care. Okay.
We're friends.
Okay. And so when it comes to dealing with women, I understand that, they get lonely at times, right? So when it comes to at nighttime, you said you have one selected person that you sleep with and he can't stop you from sleeping with other people.
Correct.
Do you get tired of sleeping with that one person and call over a definite other person, or do you have multiple people that you like sleeping with, and that's how you see yourself? That's how you see your life going, like sleeping with different people every night rather than just that one person and maybe that one other person that you mentioned.
So it's not an every night thing, right? And I'll be honest, I've dated the person that I'm with currently for 6 months, and we just started having sex. So sex wasn't really a thing for me after divorce. It really was about the experiences and being able to get to know new people. But like I said, I'm honest with him. Like if I want to be with another person now, I'll tell him about it. Like I just have no problem being honest about what I'm doing because I feel like I should always give you the choice.
Okay. And do you have any vices that your partners have to deal with, or are there any vices that you wouldn't deal with from your partner?
Vices that I wouldn't deal with I don't like broke men. I've learned that the hard way, right? I really start to resent you after a while if I feel like I have to carry the load, right? I feel like a man should be a provider. So that's my number one vice. And I don't like men who aren't thoughtful and romantic. I just can't deal.
I thought that tied into the emotions that you don't give, but it seems like you need or you request. Is that
I don't think there's
contradictory, or no?
I don't think there's a connection between romance and emotions. You know why? Because so many men do so many nice things to me and there's no emotional attachment whatsoever. They do it because that's what they like to do.
Well, if I like to do something, I get enjoyment out of it. Isn't that an emotion?
It's not the type of emotional that, like a romantic emotional type of thing, right? Like I can do something really nice for you today and not even think about you tomorrow.
So you think a man just does nice things for any woman, or you think he does things for a woman that he sees like some type of extended time period with?
I don't think it's about an extended time period. I think it's just about living in the moment.
So you think a man makes an investment of his time and resources for the moment rather than something long term?
Absolutely. In fact, I think a lot of men don't think long term. I think it really takes a special woman for them to think long term. And I'm very honest up front. I'm not that woman. I want to have a good time. So how can we make the most of what we have now?
What experience did you go through that has broke a man at the top of your list as the number one vice you cannot deal with?
You know what? My second husband didn't make a lot of money, had 4 children, and I didn't care. I just loved him for who he was. And when the relationship ended, it ended terribly. And then one thing that I felt terrible about was the fact that I feel like I lowered my standards so low for someone who didn't even deserve me. And so what that taught me was after that was I'm only going to I'm dating up from now on. Because it really hurt my feelings every time I've dated in the past and men like, I dated you and I felt like I dated up. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because it made me feel some type of way. And I get what it means. And I'm like, you know what? Never again. From now on, I'm only dating men who have something to offer that I can't get otherwise.
So from your first relationship, you said you had that emotional tie, but you didn't have the money, and now you find yourself more comfortable with the exact opposite.
Yeah, like literally every single person that I'm dating right now has their finances in order. So it's just always a new, like it was so dope. Like I went to this restaurant for my birthday and they literally had like steak for $800. Like just being, like imagine being able to go out with a man who's just like, hey, have anything on the menu, do whatever you want. I just want to spend time with you.
Okay, so your preference is a man that has no expectation from a woman. He just wants to show a woman a good time, and you're okay with that type of man.
That's all I want.
Okay.
I'm making it clear that's all I want because I'm very upfront about the fact that I don't want to get married again. So once you take marriage off the table and once you take commitment and children off the table, what else is there? So I really want to be able to just explain to a man, I want really good sex, I want really awesome vacations, and I want you to spoil me. And men are okay with that. But here's the other part of that, right? I'm not fucking you on the first night. Like I said, the guy that I hang out with most of the time now, it took us almost 4 or 5 months to even talk about having sex. And we were doing a bunch of, like he took me to Miami for my birthday, for brunch, mind you, just to eat. So men really will show you an experience if they want to be with you. But my thing is, I'm going to make men prove that they want to be with me. I'm going to make men earn that emotional connection. And what I find is so many men end up just falling short because they don't know how to do anything besides chase vagina. And then once they get it, then they just fall off, right? I don't have those experiences.
Not that, no racism, but these black men that you're talking about?
You know what's funny? I don't date white men. I don't date Hispanic men. I've only been with black men.
Interesting. Okay.
Hey, Juju.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Gonna ask some questions from a lady's perspective.
Okay.
Have you ever gotten your heart broken?
Yes, I've definitely gotten my heart broken.
Who broke your heart?
Where do you want to start? Was it my first boyfriend who I caught in bed with another woman? Was it my ex-husband who cheated on me with everybody? I mean, that's what men do, right?
The first ex-husband or the second ex-husband?
Second ex-husband.
He broke your heart?
He broke my heart.
You mentioned...
Actually, he broke me. I think that's why I am the way I am now, because he broke me. He didn't just break my heart. He broke me. And so I had to really learn how to put the pieces back together again and figure out what makes me feel right. And I think this is where I landed.
Do you think you kind of adopted this ideology as a way of protecting yourself? So because you didn't, that's pretty powerful. You didn't say he broke your heart. You said he broke you. That's a lot of piecing back together. So do you think that's why you kind of adopted this ideology where you protect yourself?
I don't think this is a trauma response. I think this was a very, Juju, stop dating, figure out who you are, figure out what makes you happy, and stop trying to make men happy. And once I stopped trying to make men happy and I figured out what makes me happy and what I like to do, I've been having fun. This is not a trauma response at all. Like, I'm truly living my best life right now.
Do you see yourself in the future ever settling down? Is there any possibility you think that you could ever get married again?
I would love to settle down, but I want you to understand one thing. If I settle down again, when you look at my husband, you're going to think he's so incredibly dope, right? It's not going to be someone who's trying to be something that he's not, who's trying to fit into my life. It's going to be someone who compliments me so well that you're going to understand why I gave a lifestyle up just to be with him.
What do you think those qualities, like for our men's watching, what would it take to get Juju to settle down?
You know what? This is the #1 question I do not ask, because I feel like men always ask you that question so they can figure out who to pretend to be so they can date you, right? But for me, when it comes to dating, I want someone who's successful, right? Money is important to me. I want someone who's attractive, who cares about their health, right? Because you want your partner to be around for a while, right? You don't want them to have diabetes and that kind of stuff. I want someone who doesn't have a gaggle of children, right? Because I still want to be able to have another child one day. I want someone who's adventurous, who loves to travel. I want someone who can think outside the box. I want someone who has an entrepreneurial spirit, right? Because I have so many things going on. I would love someone who would love to invest in me. I want someone who can communicate and is my best friend. And I know I'm asking for a lot, and the chances of me finding that person, may be small, but I'm willing to wait as long as I need to wait because I'll never settle again.
Do you think there might be a chance that you made the standards so high that most men can't reach it? Like you made it unattainable?
I definitely don't think it's unattainable. I literally think that all the men that I'm dating right now are exactly that. The only reason I don't settle down is because I'm not ready. Or maybe they're not ready, right? So we're enjoying the space that we're in where we're having fun and it's just no commitment. But everyone I'm dating right now is super dope. Exactly as everything that I just described. It's just not the right time.
Yeah, I think like it's a movement. Like I feel like what you're saying is to have women check back in with themselves. Do you think along the way, because you said you've been in one committed relationship after another, do you think that sometimes women get lost in relationships?
I absolutely think women get lost in relationships. Being Afro-Latina, I think growing up in a Dominican household, marriage was always what I aspired to. And I just don't aspire to marriage. I don't aspire to love. I don't aspire to commitment. I aspire to good vibes. I aspire to good times. I aspire to traveling. I aspire to doing whatever I want to do. And if you want to come on this journey with me, cool. But if not, I'm okay with being alone.
That's happiness.
I'm happy. I promise you, this is not a trauma response. And I think too often, because we've had bad experiences in the past, that people want to label us as having a trauma response or being a whore or whatever, right? And I don't think that that's what it is. I think women should be able to be in a space to do whatever they want and be able to focus on their happiness and their orgasm and that be okay and not get labeled.
How did you get to the point where you were able to be like, I don't care if you call me a whore, I don't care if you know I'm with 10 people. How did you get to that level of freedom where other people's opinions no longer affected you?
You know what it was? I think I was so scared to get divorced last time because I was so scared that people would judge me. It was a second failed marriage and I cared what people think, right? And it took one of my Spelman sisters pulling me to the side and being like, girl, why do you care? If it makes you happy, that's all that matters. And I think I super internalized that. And I was like, you know what? If you want to fail me, if you want to judge me based on something that I failed at, fine, go for it. But you know what you'll never do again? You'll never be able to judge me for something that I can control. And so I control my happiness. And if you want to judge that, fine, but most likely you're in a marriage where you're probably settling or a relationship where you're getting cheated on, and guess who isn't doing any of that? Me. So I understand that people hate what they don't understand, or people, it's so funny because there are people who are like super preachy about certain things online, but then they're in my DMs trying to figure it out. And I find myself being like a online therapist for people who are trying to figure it out, but they would never say the stuff out loud because it's so taboo. I don't care about taboo. I'm happy. I'm going to teach you how to be happy too if you're around me. Literally, everyone who's around me is the exact same way. Like none of us are, we're all chasing a bag. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all trying to figure this out. Like relationships just aren't like the number one thing in any of our lives. So it's important to surround yourself with people who are like-minded.
Facts.
What is it about that one guy that you're sleeping with, right? That you said you didn't want an emotional connection, but you continuously return to this one guy out of 10. So what is it about him that differentiates from the other 9?
He figured out how to be my friend. And that was really important. I can communicate with him. I can be honest with him. It was so funny. We just had a conversation recently, right? Where we went out on this really nice date and he knew that I had like things to do afterwards. And I was like, yeah, I had 2 other dates. And I was able to tell him that and we laugh about it. So he doesn't get mad about stuff. And he can do the same thing, right?
Right.
Like he tells me all the time if we're not in a serious relationship by the end of the year, he might have a baby with somebody else. And I was like, go ahead, have a baby with somebody else, even marry her, but I'll always be your piece. And so I'm really able to figure out men and what makes them happy. And happiness doesn't come from marriage, and happiness definitely does not come from children. So happiness comes from trust and communication, being able to connect with someone and feel like they don't judge you. And I think that's what I give all these men, and that's what all these men give me. And that's why we're able to be on the level that we're on. So it's not about love and marriage and kids and whatever. It's really about we're really dope people. We have our shit together and now we can connect. It's about the connection, right? It's not about all that other stuff.
So when you say be his peace, if he cut you off sexually and had another baby, maybe even got married like you're suggesting him to do, you'd be fine with that being his peace is just a non-sexual relationship and you have to deal with the other 9 people who you didn't exactly want to have as much sex with as this guy.
And it doesn't have to be the other 9 people, right? It could be a whole new set. So one thing I know for sure, when you have a baby and you have a relationship, you're going to have problems, right? You're always going to look for that outlet, whether it's sexual or not. I know he's always going to come back to me and always come to me for advice and always be able to rely on me emotionally because that's just what I am to him. That's the foundation of our relationship. I don't care about him having other children. I don't care about him marrying somebody. If that's what you want to do, find your happiness. I respect it. But I know you're going to want peace one day, and I know he's always going to come back.
Did you care about your second divorce? You said that there was infidelity, but you're saying you don't care about that now. So would you repatch things with that if infidelity was the issue, and now you're saying it doesn't really matter? It's just
I would never.
You would never.
I would never.
But you would tell him that you don't care about infidelity anymore. So then maybe that would open up a conversation.
No, because he's not financially stable. He has 4 children. He's a liar. He has other moral vices that I can't deal with.
Okay, but you said he cheated on you and that did affect you.
It wasn't the cheating, it was the lying. Because imagine being in a relationship with someone the whole time and you know it's something, but you can't figure out what it is. It's gaslighting, right? I felt crazy my entire marriage. And I hated that. Like I woke up every day feeling crazy. You want to know some of the shit I had to deal with? And I don't know if I felt crazy. Like, do you know he was at his baby mother's house every Tuesday and Thursday? I couldn't meet his baby. I couldn't meet his baby mama. Do you know what he was doing over there? I was just trying to give him space so he can see his baby because the baby was new and their relationship was fresh, their breakup was fresh. He was over there cheating on me. I felt crazy. You know, he had sex with someone in my car, bought a brand new Maserati. That man broke me. Like, I really had to figure out why I even allowed that shit. And I felt like I was really weak. And so one thing that I became after my divorce was strong, independent.
So 2 questions. What do you think caused him to want to cheat on somebody like you, Juju?
He cheats on everyone. So the way we actually broke up was I called his ex-wife and his baby mother on a 3-way call, and just imagine everything I found out.
Do you think she was more attractive than you? Do you think she had more personality that he was looking for? Do you think he had more wife material? The other woman I'm talking about. Like, why do you think he would step out on you for her? Like, not that you're lacking something, but what do you think that he needed in that moment that you weren't providing?
You know what? I never blame, he has a sex addiction. I never blame women. If a man cheats on you, that's that man's problem. It wasn't because of something I was
Yeah,
lacking
I'm
or
more
something
curious
that I
if he
did.
vocalized to you what he was looking for in the moment that he couldn't get from you.
Oh, there was no vocalizing. Once I found out, I never spoke to him again. Like,
Oh.
I filed for divorce and we just never spoke again. Like, we never spoke again.
All right, and my second question, so do you feel like because your ex-husband needed peace and that woman was his peace, that now you think, or you've formulated in your mind that the peace that he was seeking that you can be for the man of your dreams that's out there?
Say that again?
The man of your dreams that's out there, do you think that you'd prefer to be his peace or be his wife? Because it seems like based off of how things happened with your ex-husband that you formulated that, okay, he needed some peace that he wasn't getting from me. So maybe if I become the peace in the world, then my mate will come find me and I could be with him that way.
If I would rather be someone's peace or their wife, I would rather be someone's peace. And you know what it is? I have so many people's husbands trying to get with me, and when I ask them, like, what is it? They're just looking for peace. So marriage is just a piece of paper to me at this point. Maybe someone will make it mean something to me one day, but in this moment, I'm just not interested in being anyone's wife. And I think we are so focused on the title of wife, like it means something. And a lot of time, men will call you their wife, but still treat you like you're some type of slide. And I find that a lot of men actually treat their mistresses better than they treat their wives, right? And I always ask this question, like, why don't you just marry your mistress? And some men do, right? And they have amazing lives afterward. But I think that men get stuck in their head that they're supposed to be with a type of woman, or they married this woman when they're in their 20s, and now that they're in their 30s and their 40s, and they know who they are, now they can't escape this relationship. So I think that's why men cheat. And some men just cheat because they want to cheat. But as far as what I want to be, I just want to be a man's peace. Like whoever the guy I'm with, I want that relationship to be so peaceful. And if we get married, cool. But if not, I have no problem him being my little friend.
And do you think that thought was provoked by you thinking like a man or thinking like a woman?
Honestly, I think that came from me just growing up and having experiences. I don't think it's gender based. I think a man can think exactly how I'm thinking. And of course, I think that way too. I don't think it's gender specific. Are you talking about in terms of a sexual or non-sexual relationship? I don't want to sleep with other people's husbands or boyfriends. So I can still be, even though it may feel a little inappropriate for someone else's husband or boyfriend to come to me and talk to me about their relationship and have maybe an emotional, like there is a such thing as emotional cheating, right? And I feel like men do emotionally cheat with me, but I keep people at such a distance because at the end of the day, I don't want to get hurt, right? And I also don't like drama. I'm not trying to deal with anyone's wife, girlfriend, or whatever. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. I had so much fun at 8 at the Table. Thank you guys for having me. I hope to be back next time.